So the next phase of the confirmation hearings for Supreme Court nominee Judge Kentanji Brown-Jackson will resume on Monday when the Senate Judiciary Committee will meet to decide when the vote will actually take place.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand met with Judge Jackson and on Thursday praised her appearance before the committee. Take a listen.
So thank you so much for having such presence and being able to answer the questions as thoroughly as you have and with such unbelievable judiciousness and elegance and thoughtfulness. So thank you. You've made us all proud.
Constitutional law professor Natalie Gomez-Velez has been watching the hearings each and every day. She joins us this morning to really wrap up how this week went. So good morning to you, Natalie. Good to see you.
Great to see you both. Good morning.
So let's get into this because Judge Jackson, one step closer, right, to making history after being grilled for 3 days. Did everything, I guess, play out the way that you expected? Were you surprised in any way by the way that the Republicans went after her? Because they said, some of them said in the very beginning, you're not going to see what the Democrats did to the other two Supreme Court nominees in recent history. But then what did you think of how it all played out?
Yeah, I was hopeful at the beginning that this would be a more civil and on the merits hearing, but certain of the Republican senators didn't do that. And that was, you've got a photo there of Senator Ted Cruz as one of the examples. And the strange thing was, for example, he was talking about issues around schools teaching systemic racism and his concerns about that. That has absolutely nothing to do with a federal, the judge on the Supreme Court or anything that's before. That's a state and local issue. So he was trying to score political points, not really speaking to her qualifications, her record, over 500 decisions as a district court judge. It just devolved into some of these political sort of showcasing for several of the Republican senators, which was disappointing and a bit, in some instances, disrespectful, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of mind-blowing when you compare her experience in the court compared to, Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, it really was surprising for a lot of folks. But moving on, the final day of the hearings is reserved for witness testimony. So Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall, he was among them. Let's take a listen to what he has to say.
The Senate must now do its due diligence to ensure that the ideology of the anti-incarceration and anti-police movement, views that the Biden administration seemingly has increasingly embraced, is never permitted to make its way onto our Supreme Court.
So what's your reaction to his comments?
Well, first of all, it was kind of strange that you had a state attorney general speaking about a federal nominee to the Supreme Court of the United States, number one. What he just said is not borne out at all in her record, nor is it borne out by the endorsements that she has received from across the political spectrum, including Fraternal Order of Police, others, prosecutors, some conservative lawyers, judges, et cetera. So, I guess there was politics. I mean, there was going to be politics in this process, and there was more of it than you would have liked.
Yeah.
But notwithstanding that, although I think the overarching takeaway from these hearings is at one point she used the word persevere.
Yeah.
And I think that was really key. Number two, to the degree that she was impressive just on her credentials beforehand, the way she managed over 23 hours of testimony, I was just amazed and blown away and just really thought that she was so impressive. So, one would hope that she would garner some Republican votes. She should get a unanimous vote in my view, but I know politically that's not going to happen. But just the strength of her ability, her temperament, and her ability to respond to many of these attacks in a substantive way was very impressive.
Yeah, and that persevere story was incredible to hear what happened when she was walking through the streets of Harvard University as a young college student. We already heard from Mitch McConnell, who came out and said, look, I can't support the nominee, right? But when the Senate votes to confirm Judge Jackson, when they voted last time for the appellate courts, three Republican senators did, in fact, vote for her. This time around, it could be one of the closest votes a Supreme Court nominee has ever had, Natalie. So could the results, I guess, be challenged by Republicans if it is so close? Has it ever gone that way?
Not that I'm aware of, and it's one of these things where it seems as though with the 50-50 split in, in the Senate, right? You've got apparently, you've got the 50 Democratic votes, and then this would be interesting in another way. The tiebreaker would be Kamala Harris, right? The president of the Senate, the vice president. And you'd have another historic situation where the tie vote, as the first Black woman vice president, would be the tie vote for the first Black woman Supreme Court justice. There's still hope, though, I think, in the Biden administration that some Republican senators will vote to confirm. It doesn't look like Lindsey Graham is one of them based on his behavior during the committee hearings, but there's a possibility. They're saying maybe Susan Collins, maybe Mitt Romney, haven't heard much from Lisa Murkowski. So I think that there's still hope there. Even without that, though, it really is a squeaker, right? Through the committee, it's at 11-11, but that won't necessarily stop it from coming out of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Then it goes to the floor. Hopefully there are more than the 50 votes, and then you get the vote for confirmation. If not, then you've got that 50-50 plus the tie vote by Vice President Kamala Harris. So, anything can happen. This should be a nominee who sails through the process, but things have become so politicized, I think, in the confirmation process. There were so many of the comments that really didn't have much to do with either her record or, what was relevant to her moving to the Supreme Court. So on the other hand, there was on display, I think, a very highly qualified candidate, an extraordinarily impressive person with not only the knowledge, I mean, she covered areas of law, criminal law, immigration, constitutional law. I mean, we heard about the Dormant Commerce Clause, antitrust. I mean, that breadth and depth of knowledge, the temperament was amazing.
Yes, she is.
So
she is absolutely amazing. We could talk about her for hours based on everything that happened, but we have run out of time. We so appreciate your time this morning, Natalie. Thanks for joining us this morning. We will be keeping a very close eye on how everything develops.
Thanks for having me.